Telekom is not only connecting people, it also provides infrastructure for it. That's where we're starting at, like at the base layer, you can say like that. But our department is not the only Web3 department. So Telekom has other Web3 departments as well that are focused on other areas. So there's a lot of development going on in any kind of direction. Yeah, you can expect all like Telecom and other companies will be a part of Web3 in the future as well.
Don't worry, we are friends.
Hello and welcome back to the Friends Validator YouTube channel. This is a YouTube channel you should subscribe to if you want to learn everything what has to do with staking, with proof-of-stake blockchains, and the huge Web3 revolution that is on the horizon. And today I have the pleasure to welcome Wolfgang from the Deutsche Telekom to the show. The Deutsche Telekom is expanding like crazy to the Web3 industry. So yeah, Wolfgang, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. The pleasure is all mine. And before we dive deeper into all of the cool aspects that Telekom is doing in regards to providing infrastructure across all kinds of blockchains into oracles and what regulatory problems you eventually might face there and what the future looks like, I think it would make a lot of sense if you would like kindly introduce yourself, what you specifically do at the Deutsche Telekom. And moreover, when the Deutsche Telekom had its aha moment to understand, okay, now it makes sense to dive deeper into crypto. This is not only Bitcoin and, you know, not only buying drugs online. There's more behind the curtain. So yeah, would be amazing if you could guide us through here.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my name is Wolfgang Michael Kraus, and I'm a technical consultant and product owner of one of our DevOps teams, so infrastructure teams at Deutsche Telekom, MMS. And yeah, so that's like the unit we had at the Telekom exists already for quite some time. So but we are scaling just at the moment. We are really upscaling the whole business. So we started actually with a staking business a few years ago already. But yeah, back then there was not that much opportunity. So but that changed really, really quickly in the last year. So that's where I think the Deutsche Telekom as well had its aha moment. When we realized, yeah, there's a huge business developing, providing infrastructure in the staking services. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also announced very recently that you are also now into Chainlink, so Link staking, and you announced this collaboration with Polygon. So we are definitely on the track here.
Yeah,
but yeah, so everything what you do right now with the Deutsche Telekom, is it only focused on staking, or are you also doing other things right now?
So yeah, we had several different business streams, but one business stream was also consulting, consulting for bigger companies and projects in the Web3 world, or consulting for more like the traditional industry that wants to migrate towards the Web3 world. But yeah, as we saw that we need to use all of our resources for the staking unit, we decided last year that we will focus heavily on staking and proof of stake networks, but also, yeah, we are looking in all different kinds of directions. So what we had before as well is like we were developing quite some cool stuff in the SSI area, but yeah, as said, we are focusing more on the staking business now, but we are also looking at any kind of technology that can emerge as a promising future operation. For example, we are also looking into Bitcoin right now and Lightning Network, even though that's probably the oldest technology that's around. But we are also looking at this kind of stuff because there's quite some cool stuff happening as well. So yeah, but the main focus is still on providing infrastructure for staking.
Yeah, also makes a lot of sense since it's like a very I would say a very broad approach, because I mean, obviously staking is here to stay. We will also talk about the Ethereum Merge in a second, and this is a very neutral way, so to speak, for you guys to get in. And here's my question: is this the way to go, or do you believe that this is the way to go for companies such as the Telekom to interact with the crypto industry? So where do you think Telekom will be mostly operating? And will it be like staking forever, or do you think, okay, this is just like an experimental phase where you say, okay, we do not really know what we want to do here, we are new to the party, we're experimenting a little bit around? Or do you think, okay, diving deeper into oracles, providing infrastructure in proof of stake networks, this is the way to go? Or again, is this just the beginning and you're not too sure where the journey ends?
Yeah. So we are agile, of course. So we have to adapt to any kind of development that's happening, and we all know that the crypto space is developing very rapidly, especially at the moment. I think, or like we think that providing infrastructure for any kind of service, is it like oracles or maybe indexing services, but mainly also the like a node infrastructure for proof of stake networks or Lightning networks. So what we think is that our biggest contribution lies that we can provide benefits for decentralization, because like if you look at crypto, the most important part, of course, is always decentralization. Without decentralization, you don't really need like this technology. So so what we can provide is like we have our own data centers at Deutsche Telekom. We have our own multi-cloud setup that we maintain, that we like have different services to in the background. So we don't rely on hyperscalers. We have the DevOps teams that are like 24/7 managing all these services. So we have a really professional setup there that is not reliant on this big industry players that most of the networks rely on. Like we have the AWS, we have Azure and other hyperscalers that are very dominant at the moment. And yeah, to promote decentralization, you need smaller cloud providers that like are sovereign, that can provide this kind of decentralization aspect as well. And also from a geographical standpoint, I mean, Germany is not bad. Germany has already a lot of like infrastructure provision there, but yeah, we provide a crucial part there as well, I think. Yeah. And yeah, of course, that's like something that is here to stay, I guess. So these networks won't disappear, and infrastructure will always be like something that isn't in need for providing these services.
Yeah, totally agree on this. And but here, in regards to decentralization, obviously there are a lot of people who are not the biggest fans of seeing the news that large enterprises are joining the space in what way whatsoever. And I mean, you mentioned it, like you have a very reliable infrastructure at Telekom, and obviously you are having your own centers and stuff like this. But I've also seen on your website that you also, for example, provide white labeling. So my question here is this also not, I mean, obviously right now the industry relies a lot on OVH and AWS, as you mentioned. But the more you would become dominant, don't you also think that this would also be like kind of a threat in terms of decentralization if all of a sudden everyone uses your data centers, that what you actually describe to solve becomes the problem itself?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there are like quite a few white labeling services out there, and I think they're not really transparent what infrastructure they run on. So like of course, if you have to think it from this standpoint, if we enter this space and we provide of course we provide a premium service that's also not maybe not as competitive from a price perspective, but we have like different aspects that may be more relevant, like having this multi-cloud setup, like having teams that are dedicated for the services, like being very trusted partner, very reliable. So of course, this is stuff that if everyone would use our services and we would provide these white label like nodes for the networks, and we would be a dominant player, of course it would be bad. But we really care about this, and I think if it's like the market will probably solve this issue, because if these networks are so successful in the future, that we would potentially be like one of the go-to players, then you can be sure that other companies will try to provide the same service and try to be more competitive and have the same like premium service that we can provide, maybe at a little bit better price. So something like that. So I think the market, the open market, the free market will probably take care of this issue. So we challenge the big hyperscalers at the moment for like having, providing reliable infrastructure. But we probably, I think this will be solved by the free market. Yeah.
Yeah, totally get you here. And but yeah, let's zoom out once again before getting lost in the detail and entering like once again the important sector of decentralization. I think it would once again make sense to zoom out and talk a little bit about what networks you currently support. First question, and also what was actually the very first network that you onboarded, and are there any new networks that you have in mind to onboard anytime soon?
Yeah, so yeah, we got quite some networks already. Like we of course we provide like Chainlink oracles. So that's one of the first networks we actually launched. Then of course we provide Ethereum infrastructure. So that's like one of our biggest parts, of course. Then we also have validators for Celo and for Flow. We also run Polkadot infrastructure, which is quite like a relatively big infrastructure part. And of course, we just recently launched the Polygon network. We also launched Energy Web Foundation Validator, so for the Energy Web Chain. So our portfolio is always growing. So there's a lot in the pipeline at the moment. So a lot of stuff happening. Of course, I can only tell the stuff that is like legally, or I can officially announce. So unfortunately, the majority of the stuff that's in the pipeline right now, I cannot announce now at this interview. But yeah, you should just monitor our Twitter and our website and announcements, and you will be sure that we will announce it, and then you know it by the time.
Yeah, that sounds exciting and obviously makes a lot of sense here. But maybe I can ask you for your personal opinion of what you think of certain developments in the proof of stake industry, so to speak. So, for example, we have seen the app chain thesis evolving, that especially in the Cosmos ecosystem, where projects went ahead and said, okay, instead of launching our DApp on one blockchain and stay here, or launch on multiple blockchains simultaneously, the industry went into the direction of seeing app chains that launched their own customized blockchain, where they were able to customize, for example, also within the consensus layer. We have seen this with Osmosis. Now we are seeing DYDX taking a big step towards this future, because they also left the Ethereum ecosystem to launch their own blockchain. So my question is, do you have this also on your radar, this app chain thesis, and what do you personally think of this customization aspect?
Yeah, so we definitely have this on our radar. So like I said, I cannot talk about new projects, but the app chain thesis is definitely on our radar. And we see that there's quite some traction at the moment. Even though, of course, the general market is like a little bit shaky at the moment, and people questioning all this stuff. But yeah, it's like there's a tremendous amount of development going on. So we see this, of course. So yeah, and my personal opinion regarding like this tech stack is, of course, like the app-chain thesis is getting more and more relevant, because like we have applications that cannot just run on a shared block space. They need a customizable, a modular infrastructure stack or like tech stack that they can just shape to their needs. So DYDX is a good example, but you can see a lot of stuff, especially like projects that need high performance, that need to be decentralized to a full extent. That need to be agile as well to adapt to the needs of the general market. So there's like a huge case for application-specific blockchains, in my opinion, and of course the Telekom also sees this.
Yeah, interesting to hear that you also know so many things about this and that you are like quite deep into this. So yeah, I think and how relevant do you believe like will this become? Because like right now you're focusing on a couple of big players like the Polygon blockchain, as you mentioned, and also Polkadot, with a lot of parachains popping up where projects can deploy their dApps on. But do you think that this will also be the reason why everything will become more complex, that you guys do not only support like 6, 7, or 8 blockchains, but like all kinds of it? So is this something where you think, okay, this might provide us more overhead in the future? So yeah, would be interesting to know more about that.
Yeah, so of course, with every project that we onboard, like there's quite some development to do, because as said, we are running a sovereign infrastructure. Of course, we have bare metal, but we run most of our stuff on Kubernetes, and most like projects don't really like there's mostly not native Kubernetes available. So we have to adapt it to our tech stack to be interoperable, and so there's always quite some development to do for onboarding new projects. But yeah, that's a challenge we're up to, and we got 3 different teams that are quite capable of doing such things. And one thing I want to mention, like for the app-chain thesis, for example, like if you look at the Cosmos SDK, it's basically a standardized version of spinning up your blockchains. And I think that could scale quite significantly, because you have like the standard app layer that you can that every project more or less uses the same with different parameters. Of course, there are like modules that are like unique, and you have to take care of all the stuff. But if you do it one time, you can basically adapt it, copy paste and adapt it, and the overhead will be reduced the more projects you onboard. This is also true for any other kind of project, because like we are standardizing and automating as much as we can. And of course, the more we standardize and the more we automate and the more experience we gain, the faster we will be, the less will be the overhead. So I'm not afraid of this. I think diversity is a crucial part. I also think that diversity is probably the true nature of decentralization. I personally see Bitcoin as an application-specific blockchain. So some people might disagree with me, but that's what I think. And like connecting all these different projects together will be probably the most important part in the future to provide the real essence of decentralization. Because if you can go from any point to the other point frictionlessly, and you share like the security, the consensus at some level, then that's quite powerful, I think.
Yeah, in the last sentence you mentioned interoperability essentially. So, I mean, besides the Cosmos SDK, there's also the IBC that is being provided by the Cosmos ecosystem, which helps blockchains to interact with each other seamlessly. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on the general interoperability space right now? One, in regards to having like a standard such as IBC, and in regards to all of the fragile token bridges that got exploited, which made 2022 even a rougher year than it actually was already.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think that a protocol like IBC provides amazing opportunities. I mean, I heard that I'm not sure about the state at the moment, but I think there's also some like an IBC project that wants to deploy on Ethereum. So if we like on Polkadot, I know there's already like IBC enabled now. We know I know that there's on the Near protocol they also work on IBC capabilities. So I regard IBC like as this let's call it like TCP/IP for blockchains, where you just can transfer information and you share like on a shared consensus layer. Of course, you have to trust the direction you send the information towards to. So if there's a corrupt consensus at one point, then you should it doesn't work. But that's something that should be manageable. And regarding I think that's a pretty powerful thing, and IBC has not been exploited. And I think it will be very difficult to exploit actually. So we also see like all these bridges that are also gaining some traction. For example, where I was really impressed of was this Rainbow Bridge of the Near protocol that has like an built-in defense mechanism. So stuff like that is also very powerful, and like maybe stuff like Axelar. I know the Gravity Bridge as well. So they like Axelar and Gravity Bridge have like different paradigms, I think. So Axelar is more modifiable, and Gravity Bridge cares more about having just like very simple Ethereum contracts deployed that are not upgradable. So there's also like trade-offs, but having like the actual custody between chains running on an app chain that also is relatively secure with a validator set and maybe Tendermint consensus. So that's also really powerful. So I don't think there will be dominant protocols. I think there's always trade-offs, and you can like there will be a diversity of interoperability standards in the future, and that's a development that's very, very interesting and crucial, as I said before, absolutely crucial for decentralization.
Yeah, 100% agree on that, and love that you're like already so deep into that. And yeah, you're right about that. So there are in fact a lot of developments going on in regards to enable IBC on Near, for example, due to composables initiatives. They also brought it over to Polkadot because they are like originally from the Polkadot ecosystem.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And yeah, more networks will follow soon. So after that, Polygon already hinted on the show already that they want to bring it to Polygon, and after that maybe to the Ethereum ecosystem. So yeah, interoperability will most likely be one of the most dominant narrative drivers for the next upcoming years, because I also think that what the future should look like is that you don't know on what with what blockchain you're interacting with, so that you're not like stuck using like a bridge for 45 minutes or something. So yeah, there are definitely strong synergies here. But let's talk a little bit also about problems that you with the telecom might face sometimes, because I mean, it's cool to have you in the industry to experiment around, but I also know that it's not that easy for enterprises to go all in that sense. So there are, first of all, regulatory problems, but let's stick to basic Web3 problems, such as governance proposals. If you are a validator on, say, an app chain, you would also need to tap into governance. So how would you guys behave, for example, if a super controversial proposal comes up? I don't know with how many dramas you have been familiar with so far, but I think
I
you
know.
know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, like of course we cannot behave like regular folks that are in the Web3 space, and we have like a lot of overhead in this regard. So we actually got our own Web3 legal department now that takes care full time of our requests, because there's really a lot of stuff to do, especially if you run the infrastructure. You need to take care of all these legal issues that like a regulated company, especially as big as the telecom, is facing. So of course we have to be very careful in this regard, and that's why it's oftentimes a very complicated and lengthy process. We are getting better at it. As said, our legal department, they are really capable, and they're learning tremendously. And the thing is, there is like, I think there's a big opportunity for this kind of service as well, like having experts in legal regarding Web3. I mean, we can see the MiCA will be like they acknowledged it, but it will be be law, I think, in 1 or 2 years. It will take some time, but there will, like, this regulatory framework needs to be understood, and we need to abide by everything that's has been set in place there. So so this is quite a big area, but we are also, I would say, at the forefront of this development. So we have all the right decisions and everything set in stone to be competitive in this regard. So I'm not sure. Was there more to this question? Maybe I forgot.
Yeah, actually, I would like to add some to this question in that sense. So we have observed it now from this angle, and you mentioned that you are still at the forefront, which is a cool thing. I also had a conversation already with Vodafone, because they are also expanding to the staking industry, and what they said is, what I found very interesting is that if the folks in crypto are rocket, we are like on the road with a bicycle and try to catch up a little bit. And there's also, I think, normal problems that are also like given for you. So we with Friends Validator, we can easily run basic chains, random chains. If we see one, we can just set it up. But I guess for you guys, it's a little bit trickier to provide infrastructure on a chain. So could you like guide us through the process when onboarding a new chain? Is it like you're standing there with a coffee in the morning and you say, let's launch on Near, and then at lunchtime the Near validator is up and running, or is there more stuff that you guys need to do?
Yeah, no, that's not how we can do the stuff. It would be nice if it would be that easy, but as said, we have like we are screening the market, of course, what's happening technology-wise, and as well, and and then we have a business development unit where like people who also now know the markets and the space very well are operating, and we are always like on the hunt for opportunity, of course. I mean, it's an innovation space, and you have to always be like you have to run around with your eyes very wide open and look at all the different angles. That's why I said we also look at all kinds of technologies. So and whenever there's opportunity to work with a project together, then we do that. We sometimes also like do like run like infrastructure that we just believe in with like having our own tokens, maybe to be able to run the infrastructure. That also happens, but very rarely. So we are more like providing this services as a trusted player, and try to support the projects in this regard. But we cannot really do this easy. We just go there and we buy some tokens. We launch our validator. So that's not so easy. And regarding the process, so we get in touch with a lot of different folks. Like oftentimes it's also foundations that we cooperate with. And of course, like there's a whole bunch of business development stuff that needs to be taken care of. there's also a bunch of legal stuff. We have our legal screenings, we have our contracts. Of course, we have to provide reliability, so we have like all these service level agreements that we have to abide on, that our customer, more or less, like the projects are our customers. So we have to need to take care of this, and that's quite some complex stuff sometimes, because the Web3 projects, they are relatively complex infrastructure in many cases, and of course you have to take care that everything works smoothly, especially in proof of stake, where slashing is like a very big part of the consensus as well, and you need to be reliable. So yeah, we cannot just rush things, so we have to take care of a lot of different stuff, as mentioned.
And also, because you mentioned this holding crypto aspect, that's like very tricky, especially nowadays. What are you allowed to do? And I mean, even if you just hold a few coins and I don't know, for what reason whatsoever, the price completely takes off. I mean, in order to provide infrastructure, you need some of the coins in order to pay for fees, to vote on governance proposals, to upgrade the network. You essentially need some dust at least. But say this dust increases in price, then you would need to talk to your legal team, I guess. Okay, where does this money come from all of a sudden? So could you like talk a little bit about what you guys are allowed to do? Because I mean, there are also some chains, for example, Avalanche, where you natively need stake in the game in order to provide a validator. So yeah, how are you dealing with that problem?
Yeah, so yeah, we are not like we have our third-party partners that take care of all this stuff. We are basically just infrastructure provider, and everything else gets outsourced, because we don't have like a custodian license, so we cannot do this kind of stuff. And we want to keep it at this because like we want to focus on providing this reliable infrastructure and like be more like a neutral entity in the space as well. So of course we cannot like speculate and stuff like that. That's not possible, and for good reason. So we are neutral, more like a neutral entity that provides infrastructure services for decentralization.
Okay, and also, how do you, in order for that service, how do you get compensated? Is it just the commissions that you get, or do you charge the foundations an amount of money, or how do you make sure that you don't run all of this as at a significant loss?
Yeah, so of course we work mostly with foundations together. So there's different kinds of business models involved. So that's we try to at least not run at a loss. So that's also at the moment sometimes not always possible. But yeah, as we believe in the space, we have a bigger picture on the horizon. So we see what's happening, and that we like want to support the stuff. So yeah, but this kind of stuff is always different, but we are dependent on our customers, of course, and that's the projects.
I see. And now, speaking of customers and clients, before the interview, I looked at your website, and there was also like a section where it says, "Come stake with us," that people can stake their cryptocurrencies with you guys. So, could you talk a little bit who your clients are that are interacting with you in the Web3 space?
I'm not sure if I can talk a lot about this stuff. And I'm also not the perfect, like we got other people in our department who are more capable of telling about this kind of stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, I think I have to pass here.
Okay, but can you say if these are like normal community members or like more bigger institutions?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like it depends. It could be community members. We are working with a lot of developers as well. So like with the projects, of course, we engage in development of the technology. So we take care of, like, we are in constant contact to improve our services, but also understand the networks and the technology behind it. So yeah, so it could be foundations, community members. It's like quite open. Yeah.
I see. And yeah, also we touched based on the merge in the beginning of this conversation. So we talked a little bit about how the merge eventually gave a little bit of confidence to enterprises like the Telekom. So yeah, how did you follow the merge in 2022? In what way did it change your department at Telekom? Is there now more confidence that that the technology that you have experimented with so far is more mature now, or what are your thoughts on this right now?
Yeah, so yeah, we got some folks in our DevOps teams that are like quite some capable Ethereum developers as well. So they were following, and we, of course, as Telekom, were following this that emerge and this success story actually very closely. And of course, it had a big impact on us because we provide this infrastructure as well. So that's, in my opinion, that's quite an achievement that's happened there. Of course, this whole aspect of the merge and proof of stake with the liquid staking as well has a bit of a centralization aspect to it. So they're like liquid staking in this case was also a bit of a centralizing force. So we are also looking at this, of course, and want to like stay alerted to that everything goes into the right direction. But we are following it very closely, and it was a very nice success.
Yeah, totally agree on that. I mean, this was one of the one of the cool things about 2022. One of the beautiful things that we were able to enjoy a little bit. But generally, I mean, you are collaborating with a lot of other partners in the Web2 space. So, and now we see a lot of FUD in the crypto industry, especially from the US, coming with the SEC, declaring everything what is out there as a security. So, what is your impression right now in regards to other Web2 or traditional companies observing Web3 generally? Is there a lot of fear, and what are all of your partners and competitors think of you right now because they see, okay, Telekom launched on this network and on this network? What do they think of you right now? And yeah, what is the general sentiment?
Yeah, I think the general sentiment is not as bad as maybe Twitter shows at some point. So of course, they're in the we know what's happening around the globe in the crypto space, and we are monitoring it. But actually, we believe that is also an opportunity for like the European area to like get an advancement there. So far, the US was very dominant in a lot of technologies in the past. So and Europe had a bit of an issue to catch up to all these developments. So I think that the natural cause is now that there's a migration will probably happen until the regulatory framework is clear and maybe more friendly in the US. So what I observe is that there's like more the sense of opportunity and not the sense of fear that everything is going to end. So my personal opinion regarding this technology is like it's in existence for far too long, and it gained too much traction already that it is irrelevant. So it cannot be irrelevant if like history and development in industry has proved to be the opposite is actually the case. So I think we're already over this point where we can talk like this is nonsensical technology and we don't need it. So I think we are far beyond this point already. So I think that's like probably a natural cause for emerging and disruptive technologies to also face this kind of like opposition. But yeah, where the ones see like problems, others see maybe opportunities, and I think that's a general consensus as well.
Yeah, I think there's also this one lovely sentence that says, you cannot stop innovation, you can only slow it slightly down. And I think this is exactly what we see here. And yeah, I remember actually when China banned Bitcoin and crypto completely, everyone was excited about the US becoming, the country of the free, the country of innovation. And now it looks like that this is not the case anymore. And now we see like other parts in the world that try to eat this huge market share that is about to get inherited. My question for you also, because you are working at the Deutsche Telekom, which is a German company, we are both German, so I would be actually very interested in like what Germany can do here. Like, do you think that Germany right now is also with the new with the new laws that passed last year in regards to staking, do you think that Germany is on a good track here in order to become like a suitable country where people can work in Web3 and innovate a lot?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if we look at the current industry allocation, there's a lot of stuff happening in Germany. So a lot of projects also live in Berlin, for example. I know that is, of course, like probably also the case because of a very beneficial tax system, maybe in this regards for foundations and projects to have the location here. But I also think that like Germany is also like becoming more and more a hub for Web3 as well. And of course, competition is ramping up in Europe. So I think of course, UK is not a part of the European Union anymore, but still they are part of our like continent. So they will they are also ramping up, like trying to attract Web3 companies. And if you look at Portugal, for example, Lisbon is also already a hub for Web3 projects. And so there's all these different cities and countries that are like trying to get most of the share of this emerging industry. And I think Germany is also in a very, very good place here. And I hope that we will see advancement here as well. So from regulatory perspective and everything else that's needed to support a new technology. I mean, that's a real chance here to improve the digital area in Germany as well.
Yeah, I think this sounds very lovely. And now to wrap up also the interview and talk a little bit about your plans at the Deutsche Telekom. I mean, you mentioned that the Web3 space is a very prominent industry right now, that it won't go away. But I mean, Telekom is such a huge enterprise. Right now, you are selling millions, if not billions, of SIM cards and help people to connect with each other around the globe. I think that's very lovely. So my question here is very obvious. How important will providing infrastructure in the crypto industry be for you? Is it more like a nice to have aspect? Hey, we have data centers anyway. Why not set up one or two validators here and there? I mean, why not? It's very obvious that you can do this. Or do you think, okay, this will be like one of the main pillars of the business that we provide here, or the services that we can provide? So yeah, would love to know your thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I think that like the Web3 technology connects people as well. Like it's just a different layer of connecting people than what we have already, and but with completely new opportunity. And I think that like, of course, this infrastructure service is one important part. of this whole aspect, and Telekom is not only connecting people, it also provides infrastructure for it. So that's where we're starting at, like at the base layer, you can say like that. But we are in, like, our department is not the only Web3 department. So Telekom has other Web3 departments as well that are focused on other areas. So there's a lot of development going on in any kind of direction. Yeah, you can expect all like Telekom and other companies will be a part of Web3 in the future as well. So it's hard to make predictions in this case because like the Web3 industry is developing so rapidly. So I don't want to make any kind of prediction here, but I'm very confident that we will be a part in the future as well, and it will probably turn out to be a major part of the digital future we all interact with.
That's a very, very lovely sentence here. And I think also there's a perfect sentence to wrap it up here. Wolfgang, thank you so much for sharing all the insights with us. Thanks for leading us behind the curtain, what is going on at the Deutsche Telekom. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, once again, thank you so much. And I hope I see you soon on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was lovely to chat to you. And yeah, see you around.